to a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. Hope this is finding you and yours doing well this weekend. My name is Petrilli here with my friends at Fishman for a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. Today's episode is pre-recorded, but don't worry, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna be learning Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. So have your electric guitar and let's go ahead and put it in standard tuning. For today, as always, you guys are enjoying these lessons, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really does help the cause. And if you want to check out all the cool Fishman gear that I use in these lessons, including these sweet Fluence pickups that I have in my Telecaster today, go ahead and click the link down below. And many of you ask how you can support me for these lessons I do weekly here on YouTube. I started a Patreon page, left the link down below too. Really great community we're building there and it's a lot of fun, so I'd love to have you join us. As always, you know I like to ask a question before we get started, so folks, please let me know where you're tuning in from and your favorite Stones record. So where you're tuning in from, favorite Stones record, electric guitar, standard tuning, let's have some fun. Here's Sympathy for the Devil. So we have a lot to cover today. We're gonna look at the chords and we're gonna look at the first solo of the tune. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, this is mainly a piano song, but I've gotten so many requests for this one, I figure let's go ahead and learn it today. So again, very piano based here, but doesn't mean we can't play it on guitar. So as far as the chords in that intro verse that comes straight in at the top, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna be looking at an E chord, D chord, and A chord, and then an E suspended 4 towards the end. So I'm going to give you guys two different ways on how to play this. We'll look at the bar chord version, which I think sounds a little bit more like what the piano's doing, and then we'll have the open chord version. So E, D, and A. Let's look at those first in regarding bar chords, okay? So what we're going to do here, we're going to start with our first finger across the 7th fret of the A string through the high E string, okay? So remember the tonal centers of E, G sharp, and B. From there, you're going to get your third finger, placing that on the 9th fret of the D string, G string, and B string, respectively, okay? So there's your B note, your E note, and your G sharp. And just like that, and at the top, you're just going to let it ring, so strum it once. So, please allow me to introduce myself. The next chord is going to be a D major, so we know that E and D are a whole step apart, so no problem. We're going to get this E chord, and we're going to bring it back 2 frets, meaning that the first finger should be across the 5th fret of the A through the high E string, third finger 7th fret of the D string, G string, and B string, respectively. D, F sharp, and A are the tonal centers of this chord. So with a little vocal, going from D or E to D, and let them ring. So just like this. Please allow me to introduce myself. Okay, so just like that, not too bad. From there, we're gonna go to an A chord and we're gonna do it up here. So all we're gonna use is our first finger. You'll see why in a second. First finger across the 2nd fret of the D string, G string, and B string respectively. Okay, tonal centers for this chord are A, C sharp, and E. I want you to strum with the A string too. Okay, no need to get the high E string here, so just like this. Okay, just like that. So, please allow me to introduce myself, I'm a man. So just like that. Now, from there, there's gonna be a little walk up. What we're gonna do, leave the A chord, okay? And what we're gonna do, we're gonna get our third finger, placing that on the C sharp 4th fret of the A string. Pinky finger is gonna reach to play D, 5th fret. And then we play an E chord. So you can choose to play the open E chord here like this, or if you wanna go and and hit the bar chord. You could do that too. So I'm going to give you both options here. So or with the bar chord. Okay, so whole thing so far. Okay, so from there, once we let that E chord ring, hit a B note, and then strike the E chord again. This is going to start the cycle over. So like this. Now, if you're playing the E chord here, reach to play that B note at the 7th fret of the low E string, okay? So I will leave that up to you. So this is going to repeat a couple times in that verse. So once we are leading into our chorus, okay, we're going to do an E to an E sus4. Now, I like how the bar chord sounds a little bit better. So I'll teach you guys how to do that. So it would sound like this. All you're going to do, you're going to hold this E bar chord just like this. To make the sus4, we're going to turn that G sharp, okay, into an A. So all you're going to do this, you're going to place your pinky finger on the A note, which is on the 10th fret of the B string. You're going to strike that chord twice. Up, down, okay, mute it with this part of your hand, and then go back to that E chord, okay? So let's do this verse a couple times here, and then we'll get into the chorus, and then we'll look at that first solo, okay? So here we go. Please allow me to introduce myself, I'm a man. Let's do that again. So notice, sounds just as cool if I want to play that with open chords too. But know that with the bar chords, it's going to sound a little bit closer to what's happening on the piano. Okay, so let's do it one more time with the bar chords, and then we're going to go ahead and look at the chorus. So here we go. Let's repeat that. With our sus. So there you have it. That's the verse. It's pretty great, especially that first one. We let these chords ring nicely. Once we get into second, third verse, okay, we're going to get a little bit more rhythmic with it. We'll get to that in a second. So let's first look at this first chorus. So same thing here. We want to let these chords kind of ring. We're going to strum them once and let them ring. So chords here, it's going to be B, E over B to A over E. Okay, and we're going to be going back and forth between those three chords, just pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to play them as bar chords up here. So we've got our B major, and how we're going to do this, we're going to use all 4 fingers. We're going to place our first finger across the 7th fret of all 6 strings, okay? The tip of that first finger should be on B. Now with our third finger, we're going to place that on the F sharp, 9th fret rather, of the A string. Pinky finger plays the next B note, which is at the 9th fret of the D string. Second finger, go ahead and place that on that D sharp. Okay, that's going to be on the 8th fret of the G string, and then just play all 6 strings. So just like that. And then what we're going to do here, we're going to play an E over B. And we're going to go back to a B chord. All we're going to do with this E over B, okay, leave your first finger exactly as it is. The only thing that's going to shift is going to be our third finger. Place that across the 9th fret of the D string, G string, and B string, but still play this low E string. That's our B note. Cool chord, isn't it? And then go back to B. Let's do that again. B, E over B, just like that, okay? Starting to sound pretty Stonesy. So, what we're gonna do next, so it's that, pleased to meet ya, won't you guess my name? So, for that won't you guess my name, we're gonna play an A over E. It's what I'm hearing on the piano. It sounds really cool and helps really move the melody along, which is great. So how we're going to play it is like this. I want you to get your first finger and I want you to bar the 9th fret of the D string, G string, and B string. Okay, so just like that. Right there, that's an E triad, but don't worry, we're gonna change it in a second. We're gonna get our 2nd finger. Now I want you to place that on A, 10th fret of the B string, and your 3rd finger, okay, place that on the C sharp, 11th fret of the D string. So there's your A triad, okay? But what we're gonna do here, strike the low E string, and even the A string too. Kind of neat. And then back to E. And then we're going to repeat that again. A over E to E major. I'm going to play this slowly, so follow along. So here we go. Pleased to meet ya. Won't you guess my name? Let's do that again. B. Now, what we're gonna do next, go back to that A over E to B, E over B, A over E to E, then back, A over E to E. So I'm gonna play the whole thing. Here we go, without the commentary. Top of the chorus. And that's your chorus. So I'll play it a little faster. Pleased to meet ya. Won't you guess my name? So there it is. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna play through a verse and then we'll play through a quick chorus, and for the rest of the lesson, we're gonna look at that first solo, all right? And again, if you're enjoying the lesson, click the thumbs up, really does help the cause. So here we go, from the top of the verse. Please allow me to introduce myself, I'm a man. More time. Now let's do those suspended. To our chorus. Pleased to meet ya. Won't you guess my name? Now, when we get into that next verse and that next chorus, feel free to get a little more rhythmic. So that would sound like this. So see how there's a little more body now. We're building dynamics in the song. Chorus. This song's super, super fun to play. Those are the chords. That's your verse and that's your chorus. So those of you who don't want to learn the solo, you can go right now and have so much fun with this and oh my gosh, have a blast and play with your friends and all that good stuff. So now we're going to look at the solo for the remaining 15 minutes of this lesson. So what I'm going to do here, because I got my sweet Fluence pickups here, I was in the rhythm position, or the first position here. So what I'm going to do next, as far as the solo goes, because it's a really crunchy, glossy, glassy, interesting tones that he's using, okay? So I'm gonna emulate it the best way I can here. I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way, okay, to here, and I'm gonna lower the volume just slightly so it's not too jarring. So I'm gonna break this up into 1, 2, 3, a bunch of parts. So really fun stuff. We're gonna break it down from the top. So what we've got here is this, and this part is going to be repeated 2 times. So we have a really cool rake that happens at the 12th fret of the E string, B string, and G string. And you're just gonna do that. So you're gonna rake, put your first finger across the 12th fret of those 3 strings, and you're gonna end on that G note. Just like that. From there, with your 3rd finger, grab the 14th fret of the G string, slight bend, bring it back to true, 12th fret, then 14th fret of the D string, which would be your E note. We're gonna repeat this twice. And we want a nice clean rake there, just like that. Again. And a little vibrato never hurt anybody, okay? So that's what's happening there. That's the first part. Repeat that twice. Now the next part, just like that. What we're gonna do here, 14th fret of the D string, 12th fret of the G string, to the 14th fret G string. Then bend up, a little bit out of pitch, okay, at that 14th fret of the G string. Let's do that again. One more time. And again, a little out of pitch, this is cool. The next part here, similar motif, okay? Still playing the 14th fret D to the 12th fret G and 14th fret G. But the bend here is gonna be slightly different, all right? We're gonna go to the 15th fret of that B string and bend up a whole step and then mute it. Just like that. So let's do those first 3 parts nice and slowly. Just like that, okay? Not too bad. We're in an E minor pentatonic here, all right? The next part that we're gonna do is this. Okay, how we're gonna do that, go to the 17th fret of the high E string and bend it a whole step. Then bring it back to true. First finger on the 15th fret of the high E string, it's gonna be G. Bend it slightly. Okay, end with vibrato at the end, okay, on that 17th fret of the B string. Just like that. Now, the next bit, 4 little notes here. Little bit of a roll that we're gonna do with that 3rd finger. So, 17th fret of the high E string, pull off to the 15th fret, 3rd finger, 17th fret of the B string, and then roll that to the 17th fret of the high E string. Let's do this slowly. Again. Just like that. Okay, so from, let's see, from the top. That's it so far. Let me know how everyone's doing in the comments, okay? Now, the next bit, I had to listen to this to the best of my ear from the record. It sounds like this to me. So what we're going to do here, 17th fret of the high E string, pull off to the 15th fret, then go to the 14th fret of the high E string, 17th fret B to the 15th fret B, 15th fret E, 14th fret E, to 17th fret of the B string. To the best of my ear, that's what I'm hearing is happening there. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Okay, so just like that. From there, 17th fret B, okay, very similar motifs going on here. So 17th fret B, 15th fret E, okay, hammer onto the 17th fret, bend that up a whole step, back to true, 17, E, okay, 15th fret to 17th fret, back to 15 and the phrase 17th fret B string. Just like that. So let's start from here. Okay, think pentatonic, that's what's going on here. From there, okay, start the phrase at the 17th fret of the B string. From there, 17th fret of the E string, you're going to bend up and then bring it back to true 2 times. That will sound like this. Okay, just like that. Let's do those bends together. Okay, and the next phrase, okay, keep it nice and simple. 15th fret of the high E, hammer on to the 17th fret high E, slight bend on that 15th fret high E, and the phrase on the 17th fret. Okay, so let's do that nice and slowly. Okay. All right, so from there, we're going to go to the 17th fret of the B string, and he lets it ring, okay? Or he doesn't let it ring. He just kind of chokes it out, so he goes 17th fret B. He's going to hit that note again, and then mute it with this part of the hand, okay? You're going to do that twice. Then you're going to do a triplet at the end. So it's a very rhythmic part of the solo. So we've got, that's what's happening there, okay? So I'll start from those bends for context. Here we go, nice and slowly. You get a little bit of a pause. You can do it. It's fun stuff. So that's what's happening there. We are almost done. We have 2 more parts to learn. So next part here, you guessed it, 17th fret of the B string. Okay, so from there, 17th fret B, 15th fret of the high E string, hammer onto the 17th fret, bending a whole step up at that 17th fret, back to true, 15th fret, to 17th fret, then slight bend of that 15th fret. I'll play that again nice and slowly. final part of the solo sounds like this. And then we get into that chorus, okay? So there, what we're gonna do, 17th fret of the B string, hammer on from the 15th fret of the B string to the 17th fret, and then a couple hammer-ons here, we're gonna do 3 of them, 15th fret to the 17th fret. And he does those 17th fret of the B string a couple times. And then into that chorus. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go through this entire solo slowly, okay? And you'll listen back, when you listen to the album version, there's a lot of space in between. He's really feeling the time here and really feeling the groove. So it's great stuff. So from the top, I'm gonna play this slow. So here we go. Repeat. Seventeenth fret. Next phrase. Remember the roll. A little bit of time here. Go to that 17th fret B string where that triplet comes in. Pleased to meet ya. Won't you guess my name? And that's the song. So towards the end of the song, we're gonna hear some more solos and all that good stuff. Keep in mind, a lot of these motifs come back. So this is all coming from the E minor pentatonic. It's great stuff. So this motif here, just as something if you wanted to add color towards the end, because I'm not gonna go through all the notes and stuff from that final solo. But keep in mind, E minor pentatonic. Now, this little box here is gonna serve you so much good. So check it out. So we have a D note, an E note, a G note, and an A note. So those are 4 of the 5 notes that we need. Okay, and then there's our lonesome B there. And you can go between these 5 notes. And come up with some really great Keith-inspired licks and grooves just in that little part. And again, you have your E minor pentatonic here. And I encourage you, go through these different inversions of the C minor pentatonic and see what you can come up with. There's so much that you can do, and it's just a ton of fun. So, as always, I want to thank you all so much for joining me on the Riff Rundown. It is always such a blast hanging out with you guys and teaching you how to play some of my favorite songs. I want to thank the guys at Fishman for helping me do these lessons week after week. And again, thank you all for being so wonderful and so kind to one another in the comments. We are all students of this craft, including myself. I am learning new things every day, and it's been great to have you along the journey. Wishing you much success,